2 years ago, I made my first ever vision board with friends. I wasn't taking it very seriously, so I put this picture on it for no other reason than I thought it looked cool. I had no idea what kind of boat this was. I didn't actually think that I would ever set foot on a boat like this unless I made some very rich friends. A year later, this happened and is now my regular reality. I don't know if you can tell, but it's the exact same type of boat. How the f did this happen? In times of economic uncertainty and political unrest, humans naturally attempt to conjure up a sense of hope. Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich during the Great Depression, where he introduced the practice of visualizing goals to a mainstream audience.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve.
The counterculture hippie movement of the 1960s was a direct response to the Vietnam War. By the 1970s, many Americans had lost faith in government and traditional religion and were looking for new ways to find meaning. Cue New Age spirituality and meditation. And in 2020, the pandemic and the rise of TikTok brought us a surge of mainstream manifestation content that involved daily affirmations, journaling, lucky girl syndrome, and vision boards. Because when the world feels like it's burning and the institutions meant to protect us can't be trusted, the most reliable place to turn for a sense of comfort and control is inside.
So goddamn serious all the time. You see the world's on fire, bitch, be whimsical.
I personally grew up with a new age hippie mom. We even lived in a spiritualist community for a couple years when I was a kid, so I'm no stranger to manifestation. But for most of my life, when it came to goal setting and manifesting, I always made lists. But 2 years ago, I made my first ever vision board with a couple of friends, and since then, some genuinely creepy, hyper-specific things have come true. Actually, almost everything from it has come true except for one big thing, which I'm still working on. So now, after experiencing how powerful they are, I will never not make a vision board again. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly how I make my vision boards, why I think they work, all the things that have come true from mine, and what I learned from those boards and am doing differently for my board this year. So you can create a board that's powerful too. A vision board is literally just a collection of images of goals you want to achieve and things you want to do. I'm sure you've seen them as physical boards with pictures usually cut out from magazines. I make mine on my computer and set it as my desktop and phone wallpaper so that it's visible to me in the two places where my eyeballs spend the most amount of time. These days, digital visuals infiltrate our consciousness on a regular basis in a way that words and affirmations can't quite compete with. When I used to make lists of my goals, it just took effort to find the list, pull it out, read it, and create a visual in my mind. With a digital vision board always present on my phone and my computer, I'm constantly reminded of exactly what I want, even when I'm feeling lazy or am sunk into like a pit of despair. This is a method of goal setting actually backed by neuroscience. Seeing reminders of goals subconsciously influences our behavior, helps us notice opportunities when they arise, and helps us reinforce our identity. Manifesting doesn't have to be this overwhelming, like mystical thing. It's really just deciding exactly what you want and focusing your attention and action towards making it happen. Okay, let's talk about how to make a vision board. First of all, I don't believe in just cutting random stuff out of magazines. I think that's a very cute activity to do with your friends, but it defeats the whole purpose of choosing exactly what you want out of life. A random magazine is not going to have the exact image that you need, usually. I also don't love this type of physical board because chances are you're just gonna stick that thing up on a shelf in your home and hardly look at it. But the more you look at your vision board, the more effective it is. So what I do is first write a list of everything that I want to make happen. Then I go on Pinterest and search for the perfect images to represent these things. This process takes a pretty long time, usually a few days, because I'm very meticulous about picking the perfect images, since this is something I'm gonna have to look at for the next year or 2 or 3. The two most important things is that they're very specific and that they elicit a positive emotion. They have to make you feel good when you see them. And if a vision board is too vague and not actionable, it's probably likely to fail. What I mean is if someone could look at one of your images and interpret it 10 different ways, it's not specific enough. Once I have all my images downloaded, I use the Freeform app on my MacBook to arrange everything. Freeform is a free app on Apple computers that I use every single day to plan literally every part of my life. If you don't have access to this app, you can use Canva for free. This year I made 2 different versions of my vision board, one specifically for my desktop background and one for my phone. The one on my computer is the larger, more thorough one, and the one on my phone is the most important stuff that I also wouldn't mind someone else seeing in public. For me, living in New York City, taking public transit and working front-facing jobs, my phone is usually pretty visible on a daily basis. I mean, someone at work could pick up my phone, maybe thinking it's theirs, and then see all of my hopes and dreams in the palm of their hand, which is kind of intimate. So I make sure there's nothing too embarrassing on there, like nothing that I would feel embarrassed to talk about if someone picked it up and asked. But it also does have to be the most important stuff because, you know, I look at my phone many more times a day than I do my computer background. And the desktop background is the version that virtually nobody but me is going to see. But once I'm done arranging my images in Freeform, I then export as a PDF, pull it into Canva to convert to JPEG so I can airdrop it to my phone and set it for both backgrounds. Okay, now for the fun part, and maybe slightly embarrassing for me. Let's talk about what came true for me over the last couple years. In 2024, I didn't know what I was doing with this, so I put a lot of random images on there and kind of just vibes. Like, why is this there? I don't know. All the easy and obvious things came true. I rode bikes with friends, went swimming, hiking, dancing at concerts. I'm just noticing I did not go roller skating. Oh well. That wasn't actually very important to me. There was a big emphasis on romance on my 2024 vision board. I put a particular very famous actor on it, and then later in the fall I dated someone who looked exactly like this person approached me in a bar, and like the first or second thing I said to him was, "Oh my god, you look exactly like." The funny thing is, I was purposefully not on dating apps that year. I was not seeking them out, but maybe I was more open to them because of the images on the vision board. I don't know. Pretty interesting. In 2025, last year, I made a much more focused vision board with less random images and just like filler vibes. And this is the year that some crazy happened. So I had 2 images of writing on this vision board and on the 2024 one, but I feel like it really hit this year because it was more focused. Something that used to be my biggest passion. It's what I studied in college. I got my degree in creative writing, but hadn't done it in forever just because I was busy with work that actually paid me. Then in January of last year, when TikTok died for a minute, there was a big wave of people going from TikTok to Substack. I didn't even know what Substack was before that, but I got a Substack and I started writing again for the first time in many years. And I almost immediately went viral on there, which was a very bizarre feeling. I got 7,000 subscribers in just like a month or 2, which is a lot for Substack, especially for me being just a random nobody. Then in March, I started panicking because my regular freelance videography work had slowed down a lot to the point where I wasn't able to pay my bills with it. So I started looking for alternative part-time jobs, and that's when I found a listing to be a deckhand on a sailboat. Something I didn't even think was an option here, to be honest. I live in New York City and these are islands surrounded by water, but the only boat I've ever been on since I've been here is the East River Ferry. I did work on catamarans in the Virgin Islands over 10 years ago, but I loved that job, which is I think why I put that picture of the sailboat on my vision board in the first place. So when this opportunity popped up, I applied and I just went for it and I got hired. And I didn't realize it until I was on the boats that these are the exact same type of boat in the picture on my vision board. Just to really drive home how crazy this is, I had never been on a schooner before. I had never even heard the word schooner before. I'd certainly never seen one in real life. Like, I'd just seen that picture and thought that the man standing on the edge of that pointy bit was cool. And now that's my job. For 6 months out of the year, I go out on that exact same kind of bowsprit. I genuinely don't know how to explain this except that this image being on my vision board for 2 years probably helped me seek out this opportunity, or at the very least say yes to this opportunity when I probably wouldn't have otherwise. I was actually really scared to take this job because it's such a different boat than anything I've ever known, and I like wasn't sure that I could do it. So I almost said no, but I think having that connection helped push me toward yes, and I'm so happy I did because it's the most fun I've had in a really long time. Okay, next I have this image of tattoos. I was really itching for a tattoo last year. For a couple years I had been really wanting more, and so last year I ended up getting 2 tattoos, 2 big ones, pretty spontaneously, and they happened to be of 2 things that were on my vision board, not the tattoos that were in the tattoo picture. I got a jaguar and a sacred heart. You can see a little bit of my jaguar peeking out. I love her so much. There's nothing magical or mystical about this. I just wanted a tattoo and I loved these images and I made it happen. And I'm very happy with the tattoos because I knew I would be, because I've been looking at these images on my vision board for over 2 years. So that's a tip. If you are considering a tattoo and you're not sure if you like the idea, stick that thing on your vision board and look at it every single day. See if you still like it at the end of a year or 2. Okay, this next one is pretty weird. I'm actually hesitant to share this. I might edit this out. Okay, so both years I had a picture or 2 pictures of Haley Gates. Haley Gates is a film director, an actress, and a journalist. I first found her when she was working as a journalist for Vice. I'm super inspired by her journalism and storytelling, and I just love her overall vibe. So I've had her front and center on my vision board for both years. And then last year I had a profile on a dating app. But I wasn't actually dating. I just opened it occasionally when I was bored, but I was never actually interested in anyone. Then I got a message from someone that I was pretty interested in, but it was like the busiest time of my life, that last summer with all the sailing and stuff and weddings. And so I was really bad at responding, and I also just wasn't focusing on dating or men. After some time passed of me not responding, too much time to be honest, I went back to look at his profile. He had his Instagram handle on his profile, so I went to Instagram to see what he was like, and it turns out he's very close friends with Haley Gates. Like very close friends. She was in a bunch of his pictures. This girl that's been on my phone background for 2 years is in this man's pictures who I've been messaging. I kind of panicked and got scared, and then I got into a bike accident and never ended up meeting him. But I just don't know how to explain this, except I guess that I live in New York City and things like this can happen, I guess. But I'm not gonna lie, it kind of made me feel like nothing is real, which also kind of makes me feel like everything is possible, so that's cool. Okay, the last thing from my vision board that I'll talk about is my 100K YouTube plaque. In 2024, it was just a tiny little blip in the corner of my board. It got a bit bigger in 2025, and in 2025 last year, I spent most of my time focused on sailing rather than making videos, but then I got into a bike accident and I wasn't able to work for 3 months, so I started making YouTube videos again, and I really committed to making one every single week. And by the end of the year, I was making kind of considerable money from it. And this year, for 2026, the YouTube plaque is large and front and center. It's definitely my main goal at the moment. I'm having a lot of fun, and I've grown from 11,000 subscribers at the beginning of the year to now 22,000, so exactly double. If you want to help make my biggest dream come true, please subscribe. Okay, now let's get into all the tips that I have from what I've learned over the last 2 years. Probably most importantly, be extremely specific. It's very important that you know exactly what you want, no matter what, like whether you're making a vision board or not. It's important to know exactly where you're going. And based on my experience with my vision board, the more specific you are with what you want and your images, the better. It's also very important to put images of actions that you can take. Action. Don't just put pictures of mansions and luxury objects. Studies actually show that visualizing just the end goal isn't actually very motivating, because imagining your success at the very end actually lowers your blood pressure, which lowers motivation. So put images of actions, not just the results. If you want to be rich, put images of what you'll do in order to get rich. Please don't just put the words fun and happy on your board. Put exactly what you want to do that you think is fun and would make you happy. So for me, I put images of dancing, hiking, swimming, cycling, whatever it is that makes you happy. Action images are much more motivating and also normalize the behavior it takes in order to reach those goals. Do not put anything negative on your board, anything that you don't like, or anything that makes you feel bad about yourself and where you are in life now. It's very important that these images elicit a positive emotion in us when we look at them. I also recommend to make it a mixture of stuff that you can definitely achieve, like some easy things that you know will make you happy, and stuff that's like pie in the sky, massive dream, as long as it elicits a positive emotion when you look at it. A lot of vision board advice tells you not to put kind of insane dreams on your board, like nothing that's super out of reach, because I guess the idea is that if they feel like fantasy, you won't actually believe that it's possible. But I completely disagree. I put that sailing picture up as kind of fantasy. That was so beyond what I thought was possible. And of course it manifested in a completely different way, but it still is really cool. I think it's good to include a couple of things that seem out of reach and delusional. It shouldn't be your entire board, because even if you don't believe that it's possible for you when you add it, by looking at it all day, every day, over time, it gets normalized and could actually help you believe that that thing is really possible. The 100K subscriber plaque was also like a total fantasy. I didn't actually think that I would even get 10K, to be honest with you, especially because I wasn't consistently uploading on YouTube. But now that I've just surpassed 20,000, 100,000 doesn't seem completely out of the realm of possibility. Yeah, why not? Life is short. Put the big wild fantasy dream on there. I also highly recommend using images of people who resemble you if you are putting actions on there. That just makes it easier to imagine yourself doing those things. All the women on my board have long dark hair and are ethnically ambiguous. So yeah, make sure you set it as the background for your desktop and your phone, most importantly your phone, but try to do both if you spend a lot of time on your computer as well. Then you're guaranteed to look at it like a million times a day if you have as much screen time as I do. Okay, I think this is my last tip. Don't change it every month. I really recommend just deciding what you want right now and sticking with it. I would say make your board and then don't touch it for the rest of the year. So is it neuroscience or magic that made these things happen? I don't know. And to be honest, I kind of don't care. That's none of my business. All I care about is that it worked, or it feels like it worked. So I'm gonna continue doing it because at the very least it's fun. It's fun. And I feel like this is the perfect time to do some goal setting if you're watching this video around the time of posting. It's the end of winter. The spring equinox is next week. We've just gone through daylight savings, so the days are longer. There's just like this renewed sense of life, especially here in New York City after that brutal winter we had. So yeah, I highly recommend taking some time, pulling some stuff together and making a little vision board for yourself. All right, I think that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you've made a vision board in the past or have done some manifesting and have an interesting experience to share. Do me a favor and make sure you're subscribed. My next video, maybe my next couple videos, are gonna be an apartment redecorating series, which I'm very excited about. I've been meaning to do this for a very long time. All right, thank you guys for watching and I'll see you very soon.